Hello, welcome back to A Boring Revolution, the number one news source for everything in regards to the Boring Company. My name is Will. Hello to everyone joining us live right now, coming back to you with another live episode. Hello, James, Tyler, Thaddeus, and nice to see you all as per usual. So, let's get straight into this. What do we want to talk about today? And it is the potential of a Boring Company IPO or initial public offering. Now, this I've actually spoke to a few people in regards to this, and a lot of people have some quite strong opinions on it. But I'm just going to give you my personal opinion and what I think about it. So, let's discuss it. Given the recent Tesla stock success, should the Boring Company do an IPO? First of all, what is an IPO? An IPO, or initial public offering, is the process by which a private company can go public by the sale of its stocks to the general public. That's what's happened with Tesla, that's what's happened with Uber, with Twitter. So there's plenty of examples of this happening to recent tech companies in the recent era. So, obviously, there's good reasons for doing this, especially if you are a startup company. Maybe you're going into a niche industry and you need to quickly expand and break into that market. So the number one core benefit of doing an initial public offering is obviously it creates a large injection of capital into the business. It gives you lots of money that you can then reinvest, or you can use to further promote your business, maybe market your business. So if you need capital desperately, then it is a really good thing because you don't necessarily need to pay back any money. It's not like you're getting a loan from the bank. It also allows stock options for employees, i.e. it gives them incentives. So you can say to employees, we're going to pay you 80% in cash, and we're going to pay you 20% in stocks. And if you hit certain targets, you're going to get another 50% in stocks, and it's a really good incentive for motivating people to become a key part of your business and to feel part of your business and to root for your business and to feel like they really need to succeed in order for the stocks to go up, for them to have a really good lifestyle based on that. Also, one of the forgotten things about doing an IPO is it gives a little bit of control to people outside the company. And those people, because they like the company, because they're putting their own money into the company, they want the company to do well, but they also want the company to be responsible for its own actions, to do things in a certain way that is, socially responsible. So it allows the public to push the company in the right direction, help it see opportunities. So quite a lot of people have been investing in companies in Europe, and going into into meetings because they own shares and saying, look, you need to invest more in green technology. You need to invest more into employing more local people in your area. You need to invest more into female engineers, that kind of thing. And it's kind of a positive way to push the company in the right direction and help them see the light. Now, those are three advantages. What are the core disadvantages of doing an IPO? And this is the main problem for me personally when I look at the Boring Company and I think, should we be doing an IPO in 2 or maybe 3 years' time? IPO process is extremely costly, expensive, and time-consuming. You've got to put a lot of effort in there. You've got to bring someone in like Goldman Sachs, and they're going to say, look, to do this, you're going to have to jump over this hurdle, you're going to have to follow this regulation, you're going to have to file these reports, you're going to have to audit this. And it takes your focus away from a lot of other things, causes you problems. Maybe you take the ball, your eye off the ball, and you lose some business. Who knows? But it's generally not an easy thing to do. You'd think it'd just be a few forms and a couple of meetings, but it's just a never-ending list of things that need to be completed in a certain order. You can't just do each bit individually. You've got to do it in a certain order to get you an IPO on the New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ. So Another big disadvantage, and this is why Elon Musk probably wouldn't want to do this with the Boeing company or SpaceX for that matter, is the owner loses some control and gifts that control to the board of directors. Now, if you've got a good board of directors like at SpaceX and at Tesla, or to a lesser extent at Tesla, that's okay. But you'll sometimes find there are people in that boardroom who don't necessarily have the interests of the company at heart. And they're kind of like false people, really. They're being influenced by people outside the business who want to see the company do badly. And therefore, they're kind of putting pressure on you to do things that you don't want to do and that you know won't help the company, that only cause it more expense and cause it to lose market share. So in a sense, that's not necessarily a great thing. It's kind of a pros and cons of giving away control. Sometimes it can help you. Sometimes it can really hurt you. Like at WeWork. When WeWork tried to do an IPO, they found so many bad things about the chief executive that it literally just destroyed the entire company. And finally, public companies face intense scrutiny from regulators. And a great example of this is when Elon Musk tweeted that he wanted to go private, ironically, going the other way. And he said 420, and then suddenly we just had huge amount of pressure from external regulators, and they were trying to claim that Elon wanted to screw people out of money, and in the end, it cost him, his chairmanship of the company, and it caused him a lot of heartache. That's not good, and also they're doing a lot of other things behind the scenes that are putting pressure on you, and that's not necessarily a good thing when you want to focus on making great products and making profits, sensible profits. You've also got to constantly produce quarterly reports, which again is not ideal. Now, potentially what the ticker symbol could be for the Boeing company, I couldn't really think of any really good ones. The only ones I could think of is BORC, BORC, which sounds a bit awful really, and TBOR, TBOR, the Bohr. But again, not great ticker symbols, so maybe need to work on that. What is my personal opinion on the Boeing company? Doing an initial public offering at some point in the next, let's say, 2 to 3 years. We're far too early in the process here. It's just going to be so very, very difficult for the Boeing company to break out, basically, and actually make an impact in such a short period of time. Also, if you go public too early, you're essentially offering the public a large percentage of your company at a very unfavourable rate, essentially. So it might be possible in 4 or 5 years, but personally, I don't think in the short term to medium term that this is a good idea. I can absolutely guarantee that Elon Musk does not want to, under any circumstances, take the Boeing company public, certainly in the next 2 years. And I'll give you a quote of why Elon wants to keep companies private rather than public. So this is a quote he said about Tesla. I fundamentally believe that we are at our best when everyone is focused on executing, i.e. they're not focused on other things like regulators and quarterly reports. When we can remain focused on our long-term mission, and when there are not perverse incentives for people to try to harm what we're all trying to achieve. And essentially what he is talking about there is the fudsters, is the short sellers, is the people that are going on Twitter and Reddit and YouTube and all these podcasts and just absolutely slating Tesla and trying to break them down and trying to attack Elon's character. That could very, very well happen with the Boeing company. In fact, if they struggle to get approval for projects, I absolutely guarantee that people like Spiegel and Einhorn and all these other, how best word to describe them as is negative people, would absolutely hammer the Boeing company stock and cause it to crash, maybe only temporarily, but it still causes damage to the company and it takes the company's focus away from the running. So I think it's very, very unlikely that Elon Musk wants to take the Boeing company public. I personally think it's way, way too early. Would I like to see it done in the future? Once we've done a few projects and we got Proof Rock running and we've proved that we've got the technology to dramatically improve tunnel boring machines, and we've got autonomous pods running at high speeds and efficiently and running, if the individual pods are making good profits, good gross margins, at that point I would say, yeah, let's do an initial public offering for the Boring Company. Another potential option for the Boring Company is to offer companies stakes in the individual projects. So maybe the Boring Company is private, but they own a stake in the Las Vegas Loop. The Las Vegas Loop could potentially go public and be owned by members of the public, and you could do that for the California Loop maybe, or LA Loop, or San Diego Loop, or wherever you've gone, you could offer them individually as tradable companies. Okay, guys, so that's my personal opinion on it. I think we're way too early. I don't think Elon wants it, but in the future, who knows, things could change, and it would be useful to have that money to maybe invest in new technology and new projects. Let's go to the comments and see what you guys are thinking. Tell me honestly if you think this is a good or a bad idea. Space Lobster, love it. Hello from hello Edmar, nice to see you again. Hi Johnny B. Hello. Another thing we've not talked about is SpaceX going public. I think SpaceX is the absolute perfect time in its history to go public. I think that would be excellent. Again, I don't think Elon Musk is that interested in it. That money could be used to invest in a mission to Mars, especially if they could easily raise 40, maybe less than that. Maybe let's say 25, 30 billion they could raise with SpaceX. Potentially a lot of that could go into a mission to Mars. So, maybe Elon would think that. I think just after as well, tunnel, yeah. And the hole. That's a good one, actually. I have to have a look and see if that's taken already, but the Guinness, I'm going to add that up. I think that is a lot better than what I'm proposing. Excellent stuff. Okay, I think we're going to call it a day, guys, unless we've got any more questions, but thank you very much for joining me. If you want to talk a bit more about this, get on our Discord page, which is in the links below, and please like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Yes, let's talk about this. So I posted this on my... I want to keep these videos below 10 minutes, but we've gone over now, so we might as well talk about this. Just one question and I'll go through it. So, I like the EV Stock channel. I think the guy that runs that channel is an extremely... He's good at spotting things. He's got a good thought pattern for Tesla and obviously now the Boring Company. So the proposal is to build a tunnel between the seat factory in Fremont and the Fremont factory. What a great idea, because you can keep the stock there, and when you need it, it's just-in-time management. You can bring it in on conveyor belts through a tunnel, which would be about 1.8 miles long, directly into the factory. The cost of building that would be less than $24 million, which is next to nothing for Tesla, maybe slightly above that. Let's say $25 million. It's next to nothing. Why not do it? Let's get it, let's ask Elon, why you're not doing it. Let's get doing with that. Once we get another boring machine, it can be done. Okay, guys, thank you for joining me today. Thank you for everyone who's sponsoring me on Patreon, and thank you for everyone who's liking and subscribing to the channel. Thank you very, very much, guys. And hopefully, and remember, don't be boring, and hopefully I'll see you very, very soon. Goodbye.